Jeff Black, your BFP Dream Builder from Beachmont Ford Performance, and we are back in the garage for another episode of Garage Table Discussions. I got a special guest today. Hey, that's right. We love having a guest come in the garage every once in a while, and especially when it brings something like that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Brendan Long. Brendan's a good friend of Beachmont Ford and Beachmont Ford Performance, and a good customer, I might say at that, because there's something under the hood of that thing that, BFP, yeah. Brendan, how the heck are you?
I'm good, sir.
Man, I sure appreciate you driving on over here and bringing the baby into the garage.
You're welcome. Weather's still nice, so we're making a go at it.
Oh, I know. I'm hoping it snows all of a sudden and you have to leave it in the garage.
Well, I'll leave it for sure if it snows.
So this is a, man, you got to see this thing in person, but we're going to do our best to get some good video of it. 1967 Mustang that has a few things done to it.
Couple.
Yeah,
yes.
And there's a little story behind the car. Why don't you tell us a little bit?
There is a story. Yeah, it was originally, it's my father's car. He's owned it since I was probably 13 or 14.
Wow.
And drove it for several years, and I kept begging him, let me Restomod it, let me Restomod it. And about three years ago now, he gave in, and here we are.
He gave in, huh?
Yeah, yep.
Did he give you the paycheck too? I mean,
he was a little bit of a financial backer on it, for sure.
Okay, well, that makes it even better.
Yeah, so, I did the dirty work, he wrote the checks.
Wow. Well, tell us a little bit about what you did.
So, basically, it started life as your basic 67. It wasn't anything fancy. Drum brakes. I had a 289 in it that had been rebuilt. No power steering, pretty bare bones, but went basically frame off all the way to bare metal. And when they go to bare metal, you find all the hidden treasures. Mm-hmm. So I had to do some panel replacing. It basically has a full frame under it now. The front and rear subframe's tied together. It's got front coilovers, independent independent front suspension, Watts link rear end in it now with full coilovers. Updated modern drivetrain. It's got a Tremec 6-speed in it. Mm-hmm. Interior was all redone. I did that. I mean, the list goes on. A new old car.
Yeah. And I'm sure that the original list kind of just kept growing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that spirals out of control. When you start, I mean, once you start, you can't just kind of stop.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It was like, oh, we'll update the suspension. We'll put, disc brakes on it. I was gonna put just a regular built classic engine back in it, mm-hmm. but the Coyote swap that's in it now ended up being cheaper than if I was to build.
Oh, wow.
Like a 500 horsepower 390 or something.
Yeah. So that Coyote that's sitting under the hood there also has a ROUSH Phase 1 Supercharger on top of it.
Phase 1 is all you need.
Well, car's so much lighter than a typical new Mustang. So, I mean, Phase 1, it's gonna get it up and go.
Yeah, and it was tuned by Palm Beach Dyno, and it makes 600 at the wheels. 600
at the wheels.
Yeah, so.
Man, that car probably doesn't weigh. I mean, I'm trying to think what these
I want to say when it was on the scales for an alignment, I want to say it was like 3,600 pounds. Oh. It's full interior. Okay. And it's, sound deadening, carpeting. Yeah. And full frame, like I said. Yeah. So that adds a little bit of weight to it. Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't verified. I think I'm just going off of what I think memory was. So it actually, I don't know. I'd like to weigh it again to see what it is. Okay. But that's my.
And I see those beautiful Wilwood brakes on there too.
Yeah.
So you put the Wilwoods on all the way around. So you got the power, but you got the stopping power to go with it.
Yeah.
And then you were telling me before we started filming a little bit about the nose that you've got on it, and obviously what you've done to the rear.
Yeah. So Mustangs to Fear is a Mustang customizer. Classic Mustangs, they make parts, off-the-shelf parts to rebuild classic Mustangs. I mean, you can basically build one of these. They even offer like a full body shell now that they build, and you can build a Mustang from scratch, essentially. They did all the paint and body on it. It has the front end kit on it. That is their hood, which is actually a 68 hood. And then it has their deck lid on it. But we did have them modify the deck lid. It kind of has like a spoiler look to it versus just straight across.
Right.
But yeah, they did a really good job on the paint and body.
Now I saw the vents on the.
Those are the original.
Oh, I was just gonna say.
Yeah, 67 vents.
Yeah.
And it actually had the door scoop vents, but we actually decided to run with those are molded Shelby. Actually are vented to the brakes in the rear.
Oh wow, that's awesome. This thing looks fantastic. Is that the type of seats and everything you went with? Is there a specific brand on those?
Yeah, so those are TMI pretty much did, well, I ordered the seats. Rear seat and the 2 front seats are TMI. Everything else, parts-wise, in the interior is MTF panels and dash. Obviously autometer gauges, but they fabricate all those pieces that you can rebuild a Mustang with.
Now, I know you told me too that this thing has power windows on it.
It does.
I've seen some of these Restomods that still have the original Mustang handle,
Yeah.
and you pull it up to put
Correct.
the window up, push it down.
This actually has switches underneath the center console.
Okay.
And because the door panels that are in there are MTF door panels, and they have speakers built into them.
Okay.
So the door handle isn't there.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, the window handle isn't there.
Right. Now, we talked again before we started filming, and even though it is done in a bullet color, you really did not intend this to be a bullet, tribute or anything like that.
No, it actually was green before we redid it, but it was the original. I'm not sure it was Highland green, but I think it was because it looked. I'll send you. We have pictures of it, but it looked like a bullet.
Yeah.
Before we redid it.
Yeah.
And that was one of my dad's favorite movies. So,
oh yeah.
This is actually done in the new dark Highland green.
Gotcha.
So.
Hence the fact that he also owns a 2019 bullet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gone out and done some sort of little photo shoots with the
Yeah.
two of them together.
We have. Correct.
That's awesome. So now, who gets to drive this all the time?
I do. My dad, he's driven it like once. I think he's a little hesitant to drive it, but he does drive the Bullet, the other one, quite a bit. So.
No, your wife the type? Does she drive the cars at all?
No.
Oh wow.
I mean, she will, but I've got 3 little kids, so she's just minivanning it.
Gotcha. See, my wife would probably jump in that thing, and you might hear her going down the street a little bit.
There's no might about hearing her, but.
Yeah, it's also pretty loud, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of exhaust have you got on this thing?
So the headers are made by Stainless Works, I believe, for the Coyote swap. And then it's just straight back through some, I think, Magnaflows. And then right out the rear, it's definitely not quiet.
Wow. And then there's a couple touches that we'll show you here too. You were telling me a little bit about the door handles. You wanted to go with a black door handle, but had trouble finding something.
Yeah, so the front of the car is the grills are all blacked out, and the deck lid or the rear taillight panel is blacked out. So as we were trying to, mimic some of that black theme, and the door handles are black, but the only people that make black door handles are the Ring brothers. So if you're familiar with Ring Brothers, they're real high-end car customizers, and I bit the bullet on that one but I figured they would hold up better than just paint and a set.
Yeah, you start looking back on the pocketbook of what you've put into it, and it can add up.
Oh yeah, real quick, it'll spiral out of control on you.
So any of you out there that have done a resto, even whether it's a Restomod or actual full restoration, you know what we're talking about. And if you're looking at doing one, do a little research before you start the project, because I've seen so many people start into something and then they either
give up on it
just because they realize they're in over their heads. Not even just financially, but just in over their heads, period.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very mechanical, and I can do body work is not me. I don't touch it. So that was money well spent there. But the rest of it, it's just turning nuts and bolts.
Yeah. Well, we had, I showed you some pictures. My wife and I, used to have 3 classic Mustangs, and I don't fashion myself as a true mechanic, but I could work on those cars because they were kind of from my high school days.
Sure.
You know, I could do the basic stuff. The Shelby or the newer cars, I don't touch them.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I probably one of the things I do miss about owning our 60s cars was it was fun to actually be out here in the garage and work on a car. You know, now my garage is definitely not a true mechanic's garage. I mean, I've got all the tools, I've got, you know, everything I need, but I don't have time and I don't have the energy anymore.
Nah, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes me a while to do most things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and now the thing is too, you know, knowing what you've told me before, I mean, you know, a lot of guys do a restoration and they do it with their kids.
Yeah.
But you got 3 girls.
Yeah.
And they're pretty young, right?
Yeah, 8, 6, and 15.
Yeah, so they may become car girls.
I'm hoping one does.
But
we'll
yeah,
see.
so you may have to start a whole new project, Brandon.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with that. I like the projects almost as much as probably more than I like driving them.
Oh, okay.
I just like building stuff.
Well, when you're ready to get rid of that project, let me know.
I don't think that. Yeah, well, it's got family heritage now, and it's gonna go anywhere.
Oh yeah, sit in the garage. You're not like our buddy Charlie Watson, right? You just, you know.
Well, you know, it's funny you bring that up. With new cars probably.
Yeah.
You know, I like to hot rod cars, but then like the newer stuff, after a while I get bored with it and I end up selling it.
Yeah.
But with classics like this, I don't ever get tired of them.
Oh, I couldn't picture selling that car.
Yeah. But yeah, I know for something that's like, you know, something like this just never goes out of style anymore. It's just they are what they are.
It's a beauty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for bringing this thing in here today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, guys, there you got it. Brendan Long's 67 Restomod. And, man, I'm actually thinking about trying to invite a few other friends in over some time with some of their cars and maybe start doing a little feature here and there of, you know, my friend's car.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I like it. And, again, I'll remind you that this has a ROUSH Phase 1 Supercharger on it from Beachmod Ford Performance. And if you're looking to do some sort of performance upgrades with your car, visit us at beachmodford.com. I'd love to help you out. All right, Brendan, thanks a lot. I'll let you get out of here. And guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.